We are live from the Wake America studio here at Wake and Bake Studio 8. It's Wake and Bake America show, no rules, nothing's off the table for discussion. And of course, visit our sponsors, shatterbatter.com. You're of course in the Shatterbatter studio. All of our joints and blunts are rolled with Wacky Tacky Glue. Follow Wacky Tacky Glue on Instagram and visit wackytackyglue.com. After I said everything to you guys, I was the first one to knock something over. That's how it goes. Of course, if you have a comment, you want to, of course, advertise with the show on 98.5 or right here on our podcast, you can visit, of course, WakeTheLetterNBakeAmericaShow.com or send us an email to info@WakeTheLetterNBakeAmericaShow.com. Like us on social media and, of course, visit our website. Guys, it's finally here.
Yes.
Today is the day. Today is the day. Now, I think we should light one of these ceremonial blunts because there's no rules in the podcast room. Will you close that?
Yes.
Yes, that. Good job. We failed already. We forgot to close the door to the room. Failed already, but at least we've got a blunt to light. We'll fail high. It's always the best way to fail, right, guys?
Yeah. I mean, if you got to go out.
So, of course, it is our episode 1 of our podcast for our No Rules podcast. And I thought the most appropriate way to set up our podcast, No Rules, was to start with, of course, the state of cannabis, excuse me, the state of cannabis and the state of the union of cannabis, I mean, or the union of the state of cannabis and the cannabis union of this. So first off, I guess we should probably go around and introduce ourselves because some people may catch our podcast and not know, who we are or whatever. So let's go this way here. We'll start with you, sir.
DJ Dagga.
Yeah.
That's it.
Did you want more than that?
Yeah. It's a talk show. You don't have to worry about for the music this time.
Yeah. No, that is one thing there. That is at least decent. But, it won't knock on any of our videos off. So that's going to be.
Yeah, nobody's video is going to get shut off over this podcast for sure. Finally. So let's go. I'll go to myself. I'm MistaTre, of course, one of the hosts of Wake and Bake America show. And we just like to smoke weed and talk about stuff that's weed.
What? Yeah.
I'm Renee.
That's it.
And I'm Savannah. Yeah. I like to smoke weed and talk about stuff.
Well, let's talk about some stuff. And of course, first and foremost, the States Act basically, just to give you guys a brief overview, basically amends prior laws that what really the intent is to protect states, businesses, and citizens who conduct business as or with cannabis, right? So basically, guys, I'll give you the gist of it. There's a law in 1970 that basically made it to where the federal government could enforce law against marijuana, right? So the States Act would amend the Controlled Substance Act of 1970 and exempt marijuana from that federal enforcement. What do you guys think?
Well, it should have never been scheduled. It's obviously scheduled wrong. So it's very incorrectly already. The scheduling is put it as bad as heroin and everything else. So for the initial intent, it should have never been there in the first place, honestly.
Right. Well, I think the biggest problem that we've seen in the past is the lack of support for any bill. I mean, we're not even talking about getting a bill to a vote. When I say the lack of support, I mean like no one coming forward and saying, hey, let's bring this to the House floor or the Senate floor. Let's get a bill there. And that becomes down to because committee members sort of have to hash out these bills before they can even be voted on by everyone. So they weren't even allowing these bills to come to that sort of hash it out moment. But now what we're seeing is the bill being co-sponsored by Democrat from Massachusetts, Elizabeth Warren, Republican Cory Gardner, Rand Paul from Kentucky, the Republican, along with 11 other co-sponsors from the Senate.
In the House, 46 Democrats and Republican representatives in Congress co-sponsored the
same bill.
same bill.
Sorry, that's my chicken scratch. The same bill. I should type these instead. But yeah, so and what we saw too was 12 governors send letters of support. 7 of them Democrats, 4 Republicans, and 1 independent governor. And even White House. From the White House, what we're getting is that the president says he would probably sign it. Now, there's a lot of things that people say they'd probably sign.
Right.
But at the end of the day, guys, the States Act is designed to give the states the right and the choice. Much like if your state doesn't have, gun laws, you can't open carry, right? Let's just go with that one, right?
Right.
Then that's your state's laws, and you either got to change them, change the representation if you don't like that, and so on and so forth, right? Well, this isn't any different. You have representation that passing the blunt, but you have representation, guys, that I think that is helpful / useful to to getting laws changed, but at the end of the day, you can have 50 Democrats, 50 Republicans, or 50 of these, or 50 of those. I don't think it really matters, but you have just a bunch of people who support an idea. But at the end of the day, what the idea ends up happening, or what ends up happening to the idea is it gets crushed the minute it goes to committee heads. The people who sit at the heads of these committees, they decide what gets voted on. So a lot of the times people go, well, how come, that autism bill didn't get passed? And I go, well, did you understand that in this, let's just say, Republican-controlled Senate, it never made it to the president's desk. And I mean, that's not something that happened, but I was using it as a hypothetical.
Right.
So what I see with the States Act is that the people with this new Congress, which I mean, it's Democratic control, but that doesn't matter. There's Republican committee heads, head members of committees that are Republicans. There's head people who chair committees that are Republicans, and they're letting bills like the States Act come to the table and be debated on, and then that'll lead to them being allowed to be voted on, and that's important in the process of this sort of long process called getting prohibition undone.
Yeah.
And don't forget, guys, later in the show we're going to be talking about the unintended consequences of prohibition, which really come down to /effed up driving. We can say fucked up.
Oh.
Say it. Do it, Savannah.
No.
Just be dirty and do it. Just say the F word, Savannah. Just do it. You want to be dirty.
Fuck.
Do it, Kimmy.
No, I'm good.
Come on, Kimmy, do it.
I've thought about that. I'm not going to do
Just
that
take a hit of
on
the
the
devil.
podcast because
Take a hit
then
of the devil's
I'll
lettuce and do it.
be too nonchalant on
Just
the
take a hit of the
radio
devil's
show.
lettuce.
I'm not going to do that to myself. Thank you very
Right,
much.
I can get that. I can get behind that.
Yeah.
I'll probably adopt that stance, but at the same time, I'm ready to say fuck on the radio.
True.
I know y'all heard it the other day. Last time
Yeah.
I just didn't say anything.
I was like,
I just kept going on. Yeah.
I hope the FCC
I
don't
thought
call.
we acknowledged
The
it.
best part is
I
even if you admit it, if they call me on it, they better have a recording of it, or they can. It still feels so dirty to say.
Shut the fuck up.
Yes, oh my God, I love those guys. We can get into that one day as a show, as a topic, just like the best cannabis business owners. Those lawyers from Team Shut the Fuck Up, my kind of ninjas. Anybody want to dab? With this beautiful X-Vape V1 without the attachment because I've got it sealed because we're in here. You want to get this?
Sexy.
No, get this. I know you sound great, don't you? Yeah.
Late night radio talk show.
Oh, something like that. It's Dirty Savannah, the late night owner. All right, well, let's do this. In other news surrounding the States Act, Weed Maps actually had a story up about advocates. And guys, I already told you guys, I really believe that this comes back to voting and voting the right people in. Now, listen, there are right Republicans for the job. There are right Democrats for the job. I promise you there are right guys on both sides of the aisle who believe in this medicine. Look at Cory Gardner. He co-sponsored this with Elizabeth Warren. She's from a weed state. He's from a weed state. I think that party lines didn't matter here. This is a bipartisan decision to co-sponsor a bill that allows states to make that decision. And Cory Gardner's been an advocate right alongside, what's his name, Michael Bennett. I'm sorry, I couldn't think of the other senator, Michael Bennett, the Democrat from Colorado here, who both have been advocating for just the ability for the states to have the right to do what they want, and without the worry, fear, or pressure of federal prosecution.
Oh, that was a mouthful. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah.
Well, I mean, that's the idea as it goes overall, is to start chipping away at the prohibition, you know, a little by little, you know, to get each of these bills in, to get the freedom to actually, you know, bank in these industries and to, you know, move about in these industries through businesses, to be part of the stock market, to, you know, come up as an equal, not just seen as a, you know, a shady, you know, backdoor type of business.
How many people from non-legal states still see it as a shady backdoor business?
Or extremely criminal, especially when you get to the Bible Belt.
You can't imagine how many questions I get like,
Only
wait, do you go to an actual store, or do you go to, you know, some guy's house? Do they grow it out in the open? I'm like, yeah, yes, I do go to a store.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do, you know, pay with actual money. You know, they grow it in the most scientific way possible now. You know, it's not just grown in your buddy's basement or, you know.
I just tell everybody in Colorado, it's like a regular shrubbery. So everyone has them planted outside their houses. You just walk up and, you know, they have, you know, just plants everywhere.
It's like, oh, hey, hello, good morning. Wake and bake?
Wake and bake, wake and bake, wake and bake, wake and bake. That's like the one song we can play. So, you know, funny enough, as I think about this topic and this situation, cannabis has a lot of new voices, a lot of, and I dare say, cannabis progressive.
Yeah.
Gonna scare away the conservatives by using the word progressive. But no, seriously, wait later in the show and I'll be scaring away the Democrats. But no, seriously, cannabis has a new voice in Congress, but it does include, guys, Republicans, independents, and Democrats alike, and that's in the House and the Senate, and in committee chairs that in the past really wouldn't do anything or in any which way to help bring forward the debate of things like the States Act, which will give states the right to really do what they want, and I think rightfully so.
Yeah, I think there's too much to go through when it comes to the federal level. There's just too many layers, and I think, you know, depending on the people of each state, then yeah, you know, some of them might not want legal cannabis, some of them might actually want it, but then again, it just comes down to the financial standpoint of it. These illegal states are going to see, you know, how
these illegals, we're going to build a wall around those illegal states.
Yeah, build a wall around Colorado. You see the housing market's already, you know, shit. So, yeah, and you're just going to see the financial aspect of it, because how much money did we make in Colorado this last year? Was it like 6 billion, 9 billion?
Yeah, I think it was all together around 9 billion.
Yeah, you know, and that's a lot that's been put towards a lot, you know?
Well, you can drive downtown Manitou Springs there and just see all the benefits from the extra tax revenue that's just being generated.
I'm moving to Manitou.
You know,
Manitou loves
just expendable tax revenue, and how much that city's benefiting from it. They're beautifying it. They're replacing light poles, utilities, repaving roads.
Colorado Springs.
I know, right?
I mean,
All I have to say is it'll probably change when Southers is gone.
Well, the key operative to when Southers is gone is more along the lines of if Southers is gone. And again, back to what I was saying about what we matched an article up about different groups like the ACLU, or not ACLU, but it was I can't remember the name of the group off the top of my head now, and I feel like an ass for it. But the reality is it was different groups they were talking about that were reaching out and trying to get people involved in the vote. And at the end of the day, I'm not saying that it's a Democrat or Republican. What I'm saying is if these people aren't pro-cannabisly progressive, then they're not the right people to lead our country anymore, because you're staring blatant evidence in your face and going, no, man, it ain't raining outside, even though they're sitting there wet from head to toe.
Well, you have to think about it. There's so many layers of racially charged profiling and
Your mom's racially charged what? Dobbs blade.
I mean,
That was my like Napoleon Dynamite. Okay, I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm sorry.
there's just so many layers of like blatant lies and like rumors and the racial stuff. Like the reefer madness. Some people still just don't want to believe that it's beneficial, and they think all of us are just lazy potheads that lay around and eat Doritos all day.
Well, let's do this. We're gonna move on. Kenny, what's next?
The banking of cannabis.
Well, I'll tell you what, the Banking of Cannabis brought to you by Apothecary Farms and Concentrates, proudly bringing you this episode of No Rules, Season 1, Episode 1. I feel like we need music right now. Don't you guys? All right, Savannah, hit it. All right, we're done. Okay, so, of course, no rules. Of course, the post-shows dabs are, of course, made possible by Apothecary Farms. There are 3 locations across the Front Range. Use Google or find Apothecary Farms on Weed Maps. I really should not be the one writing our commercials. Seriously.
You're a little dyslexic when it comes to that. Why is Cammy not the one writing the commercials? She's the one with an actual education.
So, I know she like straight me in the face.
And daggers.
Damn, she said, don't fuck with me. Watch your mouth in this. Oh, never mind.
She did like a double leg.
Fuck you, you fucking
Did that like double
yeah,
punch.
feels good,
Like,
doesn't it?
damn.
It fucking feels good, doesn't it? Fuck yeah, fucking do it once, Cammy. Come on. Fucking pattern. I don't know. This is rhyming pattern. So I don't know.
Right.
Say the F word and we'll move on.
The banking
Say
of
the F word and
cannabis.
we'll move on. All right, fine. So say something. All right, say this. I really want you to read that one.
Law making way through Congress, the Safe Banking Act. Secure and fair enforcement
Banking
Act. Okay.
Not Baking Act, not baking. It looks like baking.
It looks like Barkley. That's what it looks like.
My handwriting looks like Charles Barkley wrote it. My handwriting might look like Chuck wrote it, but that's not it. All right, fine.
You know who knows banking? Charles Barkley knows
You're
banking.
right.
You know who know banking? Charles Barkley know banking. You know who know betting? Charles Barkley know betting.
Wait, I thought you said banking.
Oh my God. All right, so let's move on. By the way, we are live on Instagram. I don't know where Dagger's live. It looks like Facebook. We, of course, are live on our YouTube right now. So if you're literally hanging out this live, please, your questions are welcome. Feed us your questions as we move on into the next topic, banking in cannabis. And of course, I like getting banked in cannabis, but I also would like to bank in cannabis. So House Financial Services Committee hearings last week were held to hash out potential solutions to banking for cannabis businesses. So let's talk about a couple of these hit points I have wrote down here. So you still require businesses to pay state and federal tax, employee payroll tax, and they're not allowed to bank. Guys, please tear that apart.
Yeah, well, basically, if you look at it, the government does whatever they want.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
geez, newsflash! Oh, we're gonna sell papers with that headline.
I know, well, it's shocking. It's very, very shocking.
I mean, I think we all know that, like, the quickest way that it's gonna change is if, like, the what is it called? The descheduling of cannabis.
Truth.
Where it goes from
it should.
Any prohibition.
yeah.
Yeah, it just it needs to be decriminalized. I get you, and it needs to be descheduled as a Schedule I drug. I'm sorry, it's not on the same level as heroin.
Well, that and it all goes back to visually.
I know heroin's like, get on my level like fentanyl, son.
But I mean, that's going to be the quickest way. If that descheduling happens and then, prohibition, it's just
It'll be over, like, once it actually gets descheduled, and once it is solely
Choke me out
a
like a little
state's
bastard.
decision, and people actually get with the fucking program, you know, I mean, the
Man, I
shit's
swear to
like-
God, the first time we do this on fucking our fucking radio show on fucking 98 fucking 5 on fucking Blazing, I'm gonna kick your ass. Okay?
That's
Fuck.
That's
See,
what I was
that's
gonna
why-
say.
That's why I'm not doing it, because I
Y'all
am
think
not
it's
gonna be
funny
the
now?
first
Wait
one.
Until
to
somebody
do this.
drops a fucking F-bomb on live radio, then I'm
I'm
like,
not.
oh,
I'm not gonna be the first one this time.
I'm not gonna be the person I know Kevin get the award for first cuss of the year. What did you say anyway?
The F word.
No.
No, the S word.
You said shit. You said
Yeah.
shit. You said shit.
Yeah.
It was because Savannah got you turned up. Savannah was
I
like,
know.
Savannah started barking, bark, 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 stop, stop, stop. And then Savannah was like, or Kim was like, shit. And I was just like, we all just looked at each other like, did that just happen?
Because I don't typically ever do that.
Excuse me. Well, we are really smoking pot, and it's real pot, so I want you to. Now,
I'd like to use my debit card at a dispensary, just saying, be easier.
Well, that's definitely understandable. Maybe one day, you know, the fees and everything won't be so substantial on that.
right.
Yeah, that's the worst
Be able
part.
to do that.
Dagger, hit us with another hit point about Forbes.
So the Forbes reporter
Reported what?
reported a Nevada-based medical dispensary posted a photo of $2 million in $20 bills, and they had delivered to the IRS to pay taxes.
All right, now that's funny. They should have done it in quarters. They're like 2 million, except for the problem is shipping 2 billion in quarters would probably cost you 2 billion in shipping just for the freight and weight. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's a little heavy. You know, 220. I mean, 2 billion in 20s is still heavy as ish. Anyway, I mean, Jesus.
That's hilarious, though. They just set it all
Right.
down with a forklift, like, there you go.
Well, I think it leads into the point that we're trying to get at here for cannabis banking is that's what the Safe Banking Act is, the Secure and Fair Enforcement Banking Act, which would allow states to choose whether or not they bank without repercussions from like FDIC. And because, you know, like that was the first thing people said was, oh, well, if you bank with cannabis, we're going to revoke your right to FDIC, which is an insurance that protects yours of my money. If your bank doesn't use FDIC, which is federal protection, you don't probably bank with them because you know that your money's insured for X amount of dollars. So that's a big part of this too.
Right.
So by backing down off of the banking, allowing cannabis, see what people got to understand is, you know, if you're listening to us out in Florida, and we got a lot of fans out in Florida, a lot of fans out in different places, like people out in Michigan are like, yeah, where's our dispensary? Because they haven't got their dispensary yet. You know, if you're out in Florida though and you listen to us, you're like, yeah, because you get it too. And if you're over in England, you get it too. At the end of the day, these are law-abiding businesses. I'm not where you're at. We're not where you're at. We're not doing anything illegal. We're sitting in our studio right now getting fucking stoned, dropping fucking bombs because of Savannah. But at the end of the day, we need a place to bank.
Right. I mean, yeah.
Have you guys ever seen anybody leave a cannabis shop? It's
Yes.
super scary if they don't use you know what's up. If you don't use, like his job uses the secure people, like armed security. Like these guys are like armored truck drivers with weed.
Yeah.
And money.
And automatic weapons.
I mean, they're basically like the cartel without the cartel.
Yeah. I'm serious. These guys get
They're
out
loaded
there.
down, bato.
These guys get out of the van. They're strapped up. They got bulletproof vests on and all. They look like straight up, you know, tactical SWAT gear. And yes, no.
Oh, they're cock diesels.
I have
Yeah,
never
these guys are like
once-
former like special ops dudes, former big old cop SWAT dudes.
You don't think, hey, I can take this guy. Like, none of them.
Yeah.
Even the
I
women
do.
are scary.
And then I wake up from my drinks.
I've seen some of the women guards are even scary. Look, they look like they could bench press me with the size of those arms. Their arms are the size of my legs.
You're not lying though.
I
love that.
Marine, a woman Marine that I was friends with, she's got forearms like the size of my head.
Just
I believe
Her
it.
forearms like biceps, the
Oh.
size of my head. And you know, they always keep their
I believe
uniform
it.
sleeves rolled up in the summertime. I see her
They do.
uniform, I'm like, damn.
Savannah, are you gonna try sexual try to try a Marine woman?
Oh no, I've had a Marine.
Oh! What the hell? Oh my God. What the hell? I'm so sorry. Oh my God. You're a paint chip eater anyway. You're from Indiana. You drink Mike Pence water. You know you did.
She's a Hoosier.
Who's your mama?
Hey, come on, don't be talking about it.
Do
I'm
I-
Indiana. I have
Hold on,
family.
I know, I got family.
From
Hey,
Indiana,
do you
including
slap-
my
Hold
mother.
on, can I give her some moment of empowerment? Do you slap in the room on Trent like, who's your mama?
No, it's usually I walk in and I drop my sweatpants. I'm like, what's up? What's up? And he just kind of looks at me and he's like, again?
Thank you for your service, Trent. Thank you for your service.
He's like, I just pulled out my dick. I'm like, what's up?
Oh my God.
Anyway.
Oh, wow.
Hi, guys.
You hit this, man. Hi, Mom.
Hi,
Hi,
Mom.
Mom.
Yeah, this is not good. I see this.
This is
Oh
awesome.
no.
We never get to.
That's why I'm kind of being on my good behavior, just in case they go and check it out. Like for real.
We never get to just like shoot the shit though, because we're always on the clock and the music coming and blah blah blah. So this is fun,
A whole ass woman.
Be watching them. What the hell?
right? And as I praise us for having the opportunity to kind of do what we want, I will tell you guys that it is about that time to pause for a few seconds for commercial break. We'll be right back. And all I got to do is wait for like 5 seconds, so I have a long enough thread in there to find it, and just pop the commercials in there. Here we go. We're coming back in. That's not copyrighted because I just made it up with my mouth. So eat it. Wake and bake. That is copyrighted, but it's for us. Hey guys, you want to see something cool? Watch what this button does. Now talk into your mics.
Whoa.
Wow.
Sound like Optimus Prime.
I am Optimus Prime.
Hey, that
I know everybody on YouTube and everybody here can't see what or won't hear what's going on, but if you go listen to the podcast, just check out our website, Wake the Letter N Bake America Show, and .com. Wake the Letter N Bake America Show.com. This episode will actually be up tomorrow morning for your listening pleasure. Take us everywhere you go.
Oh, you turned it off.
Oh yeah, it's a button. Watch, I'll do a different one. Let's see what this one does. Ready to go. Ka-chow. I don't like that one. What's that one do?
I see.
They should not have gave a bunch of stoners this cool little button. Whoa. Okay.
Dude,
hold on.
okay, that was
We-
freaky. That made my heart stop. I'm not kidding. That
We
scared me.
need-
I don't like scary stuff.
Babe, we're gonna get shrooms and we're just gonna come in here and lock ourselves in this room with that button. It's freaky. Who said that? Who said that? Who said that? Oh my god. All right, well, I'll tell you guys what. That's awesome, by the way. I can't breathe because I'm choking from my dab. And this dab, of course, was made possible by, of course, Apothecary Farms. Thank you for the dabs. And, of course, X-Vape Vaporizers at xvapeusa.com help Wake and Bake America show. And, of course, they helped us. Yeah, you see it? They helped us. It's right here. Boom, boom. Who's your daddy? They helped us. Yeah. And, of course, they helped us for no rules. So when there's no rules for you in life, just disobey it at xvapeusa.com. I'm going to work on these.
Yeah.
Shut up. You shut your face. All right. So speaking of taking it in the mouth, let's talk about the state of CBD in food. I'm talking about food, you pervs.
Yeah, whatever. He's so good on purpose.
I did. Let's talk about the state of CBD in food. So first up, subject one: crackdowns on CBD sellers, including candy and all kinds of droplets, tinctures, and stuff like that. I want to reference back this story that we covered on our show on Blaze 98.5, the Wake and Bake America morning show. And we remember the Tennessee cop where he's like, oh, we don't have the bust of the century. And it was just CBD. It was all CBD.
I was so mad.
Remember the Tennessee reporter that kept calling him out like, dude, but will it get you
Oh,
high?
she gave him a detailed explanation,
It's
and
like, you can tell
she's like, "How dumb are you, dude?" Like,
These people are using CBD to get high. Right?
and everyone in the crowd's like, what?
Yeah, everybody's looking at him.
Hold on, wait. Did this dude really just say that? Hold on, we hit the commercial break, didn't we?
Yeah.
Like that blood.
yeah,
Hold on, there's a lighter right here, bro. Little Brosky.
Okay, so are we talking about this? Is it recent? Is this the one in New York and Maine?
I'm going to get to that. That's funny that you bring that up, but that's actually subject 3. So hold that back a little bit, because the thing is that is CBD wrongfully being attacked, first off and foremost? Hi, everybody on Instagram. We see you saying hi. Trust me. Ask your questions, leave your comments. We'll try to pay attention. We suck.
Well, unfortunately, with most CBD, it does contain a little bit of THC. So basically, yeah, every time that you throw CBD into a test, it's going to pop for that THC.
Yeah, it's like
even if it's minuscule,
Really?
it's still
I didn't know
there.
that.
Yeah, yep. It's even though it has like less than 0.43 or something like that. I think there's even some that is even lower than that. If you take it and throw it into a test vial that the traffic police or DOT,
it will pop.
It will still pop.
And I would say, point in case, remember the case that we had on our show on Blazing 98.5 FM here in the Springs on our live morning show. Remember the case about the guy, we just did it last week, 7,000 pounds in Idaho, and he's going to probably get prosecuted for that, even though all he was doing a transport hold that was signed off on by everybody in the chain of command. And it was him. It was him. But it tested positive, though.
Yeah,
needless to say, you don't have to like the cops or even agree with them on this one, but the facts are, is if you're doing a traffic stop and you test something and it comes back as pot, what are you supposed to do? This is why federal prohibition is a disaster right now.
This is why we need team shut the fuck up. Because when you get pulled over,
just shut the fuck up. I told my kids that. I said, hey, listen, shut the fuck up and call me, and then I'll get team shut the fuck up.
That poor man was literally just doing his job.
Transport hold that everybody in the chain of command signed for.
Me though is like,
didn't hide anything.
No.
Paper.
Yeah.
Oh, he said, hey, I got him here. 7,000 pounds. That's good old, not so much cheaper.
Yeah, smoke it.
And now,
you can try.
And now, having friends in the trucking industry, I honestly am scared to death for them because of issues like this and things that come up to where, say the truck driver didn't know what he was hauling.
Right.
Say he just picked up a trailer. The trailer was sealed and all that, and he was moving along. Okay, I'm hauling something organic, and say that perchance was. I think this gentleman actually knew he was hauling hemp, but for the most part, under federal law, he thought he was okay. Yeah, but he thought he was okay under federal law. With it being CBD, but being hemp, it's still test.
Correct.
Unfortunately.
Now, in Europe, excuse me, in the country of blunt up, no, seriously, in Europe, the European Union made moves to make exporting the non-psychoactive drug CBD a food safety authority issue. So there they call it the European Food Safety Authority, which is basically their version of the FDA, like we have here in the U.S. They're passing regulation 2015/2283, and what it essentially alludes to is it's the guidance that would require pre-market approval for everything that is CBD, meaning it would have to go past like their version of the FDA to be approved to go out to the public before it can be approved. The only exception to the rules would be, guys, ready? Hemp seed, hemp flower, and hemp seed oils. And of course, now get this, last piece, and then I'll let you guys rip it apart. The whole problem with this European Union situation is that all these companies are gonna have to wait 3 years, generally speaking, to get approval for their food to hit the market. What do you guys think?
Yeah, that seems like a ridiculous stall tactic, honestly. It looks like it's to eliminate the smaller businesses from starting up, making it harder on the, what do they call it? Garage startups?
Yeah.
Say like the garage startup business type.
The mom and pops,
Yeah,
the smaller
the mom and pops.
businesses, the out of your home.
Yeah, the out of your home type businesses. I think that's what it really is, to try to negatively impact there.
Yeah.
It looks almost deliberately to negatively impact that small sector.
I guess my question for you ladies would be do you see anything wrong with CBD in the first place?
no.
Well, the law in New York, and I think this is what you were talking about, and I hope it is, because this is what this is point in case 3. This one from a cannabis law website. I can't remember the name for the sake of me, and I feel like an idiot right now, but I apologize to them. But New York cracks down on CBD, but I can promise you it's not the way you guys think. Here you go, bro. Hit that one. So it's not the way you think, though, guys. Here's the deal. So the crackdown regulates any food with CBD to be correctly labeled as a dietary supplement in accordance with New York State Department of Agriculture. Serving size, warning labels, and all things with like allergy and all that stuff that we have on every other thing that's on food, right? Yeah. It's every other thing that's on food. The state of New York wants you to include that on the packaging. Hard to argue that.
Oh yeah, that is hard to argue with. I think the article I read was how do I explain it? Like it wasn't written like that. Next day. It wasn't written, like that. It was basically saying that they were banning all food to include CBD.
Oh.
But I think that's like,
did you read it on Fox News? I'm just playing. I couldn't make it through the first episode without bringing them up at least once.
I didn't agree with that.
Actually, they're in our programming at the end when I talk about the Department of Justice. I told you I could fit a Fox News plug there. Gotta get your news from everywhere, Savannah. Even if they're crazy. Even if they're crazy.
And now, if you look at it, there's been several states.
Back on track there.
There's been several states to actually remodify and revamp their labeling and the way that the packages go out. And see, a lot of figured out there was no standard, there was no cookie cutter design for this. So they're kind of like playing, touch and grab, or however you want to look at it. We'll put it out, grab it back, put it out again, relabel it, make sure everything's on the package. So people know what they're actually getting into. That's the important part.
Like if you were going to buy something from a grocery store, you would want to know exactly what it is. Yeah. And I agree with that wholeheartedly, like 100%. Like, because I would want to know. I would want to know like what everything was made.
Well, and that's
how much it had and everything.
That's I believe a 2014 or 15 law here in the state. Same thing that it required you to list everything that was used in the process of growing the cannabis that was used in any food product. Everything.
He's done
no, because I
done
just
2 of the things that he keeps telling us not to do.
I'm mad.
He just did both of them.
I said, don't hit the table, don't drop anything on the table. I knocked something down and I hit the table already.
Salty.
Super salty right now. I'm gonna sit in the corner by myself. If it wouldn't create me to have to move, I said that because. Damn it, Bubba. So here we go from Instagram. Being that they have known since the 40s, it will, I'm trying to make sure I don't screw up what they're saying. It will treat cancer, epilepsy, and etc. So continuing any prohibition is nothing short of, what is it?
Premeditated
torture and murder. That's hard to the paint.
That's some deep.
That's hard to the paint, though, and
that's like dark.
That's deep and dark. Get some therapy, no. But seriously, you make it right. You're right, though. That's the problem, though. It's just like, well, I get therapy because you're right. You know what I'm saying? That's how bad. No, don't go to therapy. Well, no, maybe you should. People need help. No,
there's nothing wrong with
I went to therapy and it made me a better person. That's why I haven't punched anyone in the face in a while. So I think at the end of the day, though, is that we can't even get these idiots to see that they're just continuing to vilify something as simple as CBD, and I think that continues to continues to prove the problem.
Yeah. I love how they keep saying, "Oh, well, we don't have a way to prove that it's, entirely safe. We haven't done enough testing and everything." How many years have people been smoking just flame pot, not
a very long time?
And Where are these fucking people? I mean, hello, Tommy Chong is still alive. He looks fine,
I love Tommy.
I mean, he's very wrinkly now. He looks like a kind of fashion guy that you would get off, your drive out there.
You're an idiot. Oh my God, you're an idiot. Shut up. Just shut up. Is it this one?
Anyway.
That's some. By the way, that is some Northern AK, which is I believe Northern Lights and AK-47 from Apothecary, actually. By the way, let's talk about who's got. Okay, Savannah, we're gonna give you a pass because you came straight from your other job, so we're not gonna say anything about what you're wearing. Although it looks like a Google shirt. Where'd you get your hoodie from? Google. Yeah,
I do. Have you seen how fun it is to
Right?
work there?
I'm not smart enough.
They encourage
like
you
I
to
worked
have
for
fun.
a vendor of Google, and I thought I was tight.
I thought there was a GameCube.
Oh, like Nintendo or
Yeah, like a
something.
GameCube.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nintendo GameCube.
Yeah.
Like the cube.
Well,
It
I'll
does
tell
kinda
you.
look like
I'll
that.
tell you why I bring up our shirts, because Cami has on her Wake and Bake Wake and Bake hoodie. And of course, I showed you guys the new, it's sitting over there out of the shot right now, but the new Wake and Bake shirts. We have shirts coming from two different vendors, but it'll still be that logo. I had the graphic designer make that new logo. It's a hard logo so that it's like it can be changed on any of the two colors, but it's a hard logo so that we can blow it up on a, ready? A banner. We're getting a banner. We're getting a banner.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. You want to put fuck yeah on the banner? No, because then I can't bust it out like public. Fuck yeah.
I'm sorry, everybody.
Yeah.
They're acting like 2-year-olds that can just say a cuss word finally.
Oh no, you ever walk into
Every little 13-year-old's like, fuck this machine.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I used to be the same way, man. Mortal Kombat 2 used to piss me the fuck off. Mortal Kombat 3.
They're like, what the fuck? What the fuck is this? And I'm like, holy shit. I just want to be a character. Just smack him in the back of the head. Hey,
Smack him. Team, shut the fuck up.
Team, shut the fuck up.
All right. Well, I also have on my sick T-shirt, and so I just want to give a shout out to another one of our sponsors of the podcast, Sick Tees, proudly sponsoring the podcast and our show weekdays on Blazing 98.5 FM. So you do us a favor and stop by Sick Tees. That's SIKTEEZ.com. I knew you guys would know it. I knew you guys would do it. So let's move on to our next topic, and it's pretty simple, like a pimple, coincidental, residential.
Can I just tell you something? I watched a Shark Tank episode where these people made these pimple popping toys for people that are obsessed with popping pimples. And they are making millions.
Wow.
They're making millions on this.
Okay, this was not topic number 4, but let's move to this. What the fuck are you talking about? What the
It was like a rectangular.
Yeah,
it's
transitioning from
square.
two. Shut the fuck to what the fuck?
It feels like real skin.
Yeah.
And you can fill it up with this substance.
Yeah, these tubes
Oh.
of whatever the stuff
Why?
is.
Oh,
No,
the
they
shit they come
actually,
up with.
no, they actually said what it was. It's like all kinds of like really good oils and lotions. So you can actually like just rub it into your hands.
Oh.
Like that's so
I
gross.
just can't.
Why do people always make millions off the dumbest shit? I'm just wondering.
Out of left field, Dagga with the real questions. What the fuck?
I just have to tell you that though, because I could not believe that something as I don't even know what to say it's called. Ludicrous.
Entertainment?
I swear to God, you make $1 million if you can just come up with a piece of tape to keep sweat off your ass.
Oh, no.
Yo, for real though, team sweat off your ass. Where's that at?
I'm sure there's something.
They made this tape for essentially old women, or younger women, I don't know, but you put it on the back of your neck, you like
Take your neck
you
back.
take your neck back. It takes your turkey jowl.
What?
What the? Oh my God! So it's basically like.
What about the nightlight
Oh,
tulip
a
bowl?
2-second face.
Remember the nightlight tulip bowl?
Oh no!
Oh my God! Yeah, we just saw that. It like literally lights up just the bowl, no, not even the room, so you can aim. I was like, I'm with it. Like I hate having to get freaking flash fucking like a nuclear bomb blinded by the goddamn bathroom light when you get up in the middle of the night to go to eat. You're like,
Oh, you turn it on? I don't even turn it on. I just.
I'm pissed.
Go.
Fuck
Yeah.
it.
I don't want to go in the car.
It's not my week to clean the bathroom.
Like, oh, it sounds like a shower curtain.
But how great is that going to be for like dick pic lighting?
That backlighting though.
Some dude, like,
That backlighting though.
He walks over and he like holds it over the toilet.
And it just looks like a giant
It's like
dark
a
shadow.
alien.
Yeah, you want that alien dick, baby. Like Katy Perry, motherfucker.
Oh my gosh, speaking of
E.T.,
Katy Perry, I
E.T.
know
Oh my God, here we go.
Katy Perry and
Here we go.
Orlando Bloom are engaged.
Yes, they are.
Oh, I did hear that. And then I also
We'll
heard
see how
this
that
is
one
kind of
lasts.
mean.
How long that one lasts? We'll see.
All right, here we go. Next one. You ready?
Yes.
Topic 4 is technically 5, 6, or 7 now. It is all right. I like this. This is the part. This is one part I love about talk shows. It can go any direction. You never really know.
Point
So,
27.
Point 27. The unintended consequence of ending prohibition. How about the toilet for a
Well hung man.
Or just put it lower to the ground. That's what I thought. You know, you put a little kid toilet from the elementary school in there. You're all right.
Head switch. That was funny.
You don't like to give your snake a drink every once in a while? I've literally heard my husband scream because he was touches the cold water, and I'm like, that's
Oh,
not.
yeah.
I'm like, that's not funny for me. That makes me feel good about myself.
Ball drop or tip drop in the cold water when you go take. Oh man, you son of a bitch.
It's shocking.
That's cool. And if you don't know what we're talking about, well, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Sorry. All right, seriously. Excuse me. The unintended consequences of ending prohibition. Stoned driving. So traffic deaths did rise in states where cannabis became deprohibited. I got some ideas. I wrote down some bullet points just in case. But yeah, go ahead. You hit first.
It's because there are so many fucking people moving here, and then people are always in a fucking hurry to get everywhere.
Did you read my notes from the show? Inflation of people was my number one thing.
Because I knew that's what was one of the problems.
Yeah.
I'm not even from here, and I've seen it.
Well, it's not just that. It's actually, a very good thing that, well, not very good thing. It's a very obvious thing that they're bottling it into the same, I guess, that whenever someone drinks and drives and they crash DUI or something like that.
That's my question.
They bottle it in there.
Yeah, that's the next one. Yeah.
It's like, that's not the same thing. Y'all see that snow coming down now?
Oh,
What the fuck?
What the fuck?
It's a
What the fuck?
Now it is
Okay,
So
so I want to apologize.
That's because, look, for us to get this podcast off the ground, it had to fucking snow, okay? There you go. There you fucking go, all right? We did it, though. We did it. Ah, bitches.
Oh, he cuts me off all the
Just
time.
tell me to shut the fuck
I'm
up.
used to it.
Say shut the fuck up, though.
Shut the fuck up.
It doesn't work when you do it. I want her to do it.
Oh, you got that mommy complex.
You thought?
Oh,
Yeah.
no, I'm not into that.
No, hell no. I'm in, never mind. I'm not going to say what I'm into. You guys trying to walk me into that one. Leave me alone. So, drunk driving rates are actually worse, have worse death rates than anything to do with cannabis on the road. That's actually a fact. Furthermore, how many people in those traffic deaths or any type of traffic stuff like that's related to cannabis, how many of them were actually just on cannabis, not on something else in cannabis? That's my real question.
Not a whole lot.
I feel like
I feel like if they were on cannabis and they got pulled over, they're probably drunk too.
Yeah,
That's what I feel like, or on pills or somewhere, or on that heroin, like, or worse, roofie. Got that Bill Cosby.
Honestly, I see a lot of. I don't even like to use the term because it's a derogatory term. The stoned drivers,
Right?
They say, but have you seen
Stone driving is buzz driving.
Yeah, but have you seen the way a stoned driver drives?
Yeah, 30 miles an hour to 60.
Paranoid.
Dickhead won't get out of my way.
Yeah, they're stopping at yellow lights like they're supposed to. They're actually using their blinker.
So we're doing the right
you know?
thing. We're being better people. You're gonna judge me for that?
Yeah, that's what they get scared of it just because they say, "Oh, you're stoned or you're medicated."
Rum drinker,
Yeah, it's cool for him.
90 in the fucking 60s.
Or pop your Prozac or your Xanax or your, hydrocodones or whatever, and then jump behind the wheel. That's cool.
Oh yeah. You know how many angry people I see.
Sorry, I can't decide.
Well, that's what the Prozac's for.
You got this, or do you want me to say it?
About that.
Nope, don't got it. I don't got it. All right, so check this out. A couple facts for you guys. In 2016, there was a drop in impaired by cannabis driving rates between the year of 2016 till the start of 2017. Now, I will be honest with you guys. No, obviously we got to keep the facts. Though facts are facts. You have to like the facts. We don't get to make them up. We're not presidential or presidential in the House or Senate. So unfortunately, we don't get to make up the facts. We have to give you real facts. Okay. So real facts are from 2017 to 2018, impaired by cannabis driving rates did increase. Now, the numbers from 2018 to the start of this year, I have not been able to get available or got a hold of yet. So we have to assume that they possibly could have trended up at least a little bit based on what we see. Motherfuckers gotta go places. So then you get all gangsta cornfield with this.
Well, why you always gotta bring the country in?
Because I love her countryness.
Inherently, like you
she's
said,
She's a country dog, yeah. She's a country dog.
It's not necessarily actually going up. The amount of people is going up. So obviously the number is going to, as tune follow, it's going to trail along. So statistically wise, I'd like to see that on the chart, like a graph. I would really like to see this side by side on a graph.
Did you get the TPS report, Dagger? Did you get the TPS memo?
Well, I need a visual. I really do.
Hey, did you get the memo? You're gonna have to work on Saturday. Dab bus though, just know that it's coming up soon. By the way, and before we get done here, we got one more thing, the Attorney General. But before we do that, I did want to tell you guys that this is episode 1. We're here in the studio. We got some other episodes planned. We got Mandy from the Mania Dr. Church show coming in for the we're going to talk video games and smoking competitions, 2 things that we love. And of course, we are going on the road to Denver to go for, guess what we're going for? What? Pizza tour, bud crawl on a dab bus.
What?
Yes, we're going down. It's called Dab Bus. It's called Dab Buses in Denver. That's the episode in March, and we're filming it March 16th. March 16th. We're filming it March 16th. Fuck yeah, I'll still be here. All right, so and then we're also doing
a big thing to leave Colorado. Something cool like that.
I'm also trying to get a hold of Ohana Kava Bar, so to see if we can do an episode called From Fallujah to Fountain, Surviving PTSD. I'm gonna have some soldiers come in. We're gonna get Matt Kyle and his wife to come back in. I think hopefully that'll be fun. And we also are gonna be doing, of course, 420 at the Speakeasy for Colorado 420 Fest. That's gonna be awesome. What else do we got going on? Your mom's going on. No, I'm just playing. That was mean. That was fun. No, seriously, we have a lot planned. We've got who else? Oh, we've got the Rock Life, which we're having 2. The Rock Life, not crack rock though. Not that rock either. Not Dwayne Johnson. No, we have the Rock Life. No, but listen, the Rock Life is we're bringing in two local underground rock artists who are young guys. Oh my God, I'm stuck on the rock now. I quit. It's a good thing the show's almost over because I quit. Yeah, it was called Kevin Hart. We love you, Kevin. We love you, Kevin, but you don't love me, Jay. You know it. We love you, dog.
See, Trey's going to insult people that he knows they can't beat him up.
Fair enough.
Kevin Hart don't have to get on a.
I'm just holding back like this with my hand.
Yeah, watch him swing.
All right, go for it. For real, y'all are wrong. I love you, Kevin. You're a good dude. Now, here's the next thing. So, also, we are also doing the Rap Life, where we're going to have, actually, you ready for this? K-Mac and Black Angus. Yeah, we're going to team up with them. And I'm not sure whether they'll be here in the studio or where we'll go, but we're going to definitely be doing them. And then we're going to talk about them. A guy who's a DJ and a rapper, and the other guy who is a producer rapper. And we're gonna team and also beat maker. We're gonna team up with them and talk about the struggles and the realness of how it is to get through life in the industry and things like that. Plus much more. I believe we have it's like 12 episodes scheduled for this short season. we're just the short season was to see how things go, and then we'll kick it off our core season 2 September this year, of course. But let's get into our last subject so we can get out of here. The last topic we have though is the new Attorney General, the same old game. That's right. William Barr has now been confirmed by Congress and the Senate, and it's signed off on, and Dad's moving into his new office. William Barr used to be the Attorney General, though. Get this, back in the Bush 1 era, he was, of course, Bush Sr.'s Attorney General. Remember that war on drugs that we're all veterans of? Yeah, that dick was involved.
Yep.
All right, so what do you guys fucking think about that? Oh, by the way, we're going to give our judge 2 weeks off, and then the new judge, the Honorable Trey Barr, will be coming in as the cannabis judge. I gotta get a couple weeks to prepare myself for that count.
Well, honestly, it looks like really what his stance is.
Okay.
He's not really taking any type of derogatory stance toward cannabis.
Right.
So,
Flag on the play.
no,
He's horrible.
No, as coming up as
No,
recently.
Hold on.
Now
Flag on the play.
before, yeah.
Hold on. Got those flags first. Let me throw the flags. Flag on the play. He just wrote a letter like a month ago or 2 months ago talking about that he was ready to start or ramp up the crackdown of cannabis.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, we covered it on the show, but you were off that day for real.
really?
Like, oh no, yeah. It was on a Monday or Tuesday. Well, I was on Turned Up Politics. You know how I get. You know how I get on Tuesday.
I just don't remember. No, I see.
If you guys came in the news hour, you'd be like, "Oh, damn, Trey be on some real shit."
I don't know, poor Cameron.
Right? Kelly's like, "I just woke up. This thing is already started."
Right.
All right, so let's see here. So a couple things about the new Attorney General. Fox News reported that Kimberly Strassel said, "Welcome back. Here's your hot mess of a DOJ." Now that's one thing that I have to admit is, hold on. Do you think Barr's going to have the time to go after cannabis states when consider this? The Banking Act going through Congress, there removes any reason to go after anybody for any banking fouls or illegals or illegal,
Right.
those things. Yeah. And
Illegal immigrants.
illegal issues. Where are you from? Trump state?
I thought that's what you were trying to say. You talk so fast.
No.
What he's saying right now? He's so high, he's talking like a dang auction guy or something.
No, but the thing is, what I question is will Barr have the time to focus on cannabis crackdown in places where it's legal already anyway, with things like the States Act going through Congress and the House and the Senate and soon to the President's desk, hopefully, as well as the Safe Banking Act, those things making their way through legislation at this point, with that going on, right? And then on top of that, he is really walking into a hot mess. He's got to deal with the Mueller investigation. He's got to deal with, they're probably still investigating Hillary Clinton's emails. I'm not saying they should or shouldn't. I'm just saying they probably still are either way. And
what they can find.
right. And then of course, we still have the usual suspects like heroin, drugs, and the hardcore gangs out there that are really like a problem. And we're talking about the real organized true gangs that are moving, weight and product that are really can be and are potentially a problem.
I mean,
That's more of a problem right now. I think that's going to take his time, no matter what he said.
I mean, like, he can try.
Y'all see the 16 tons of cocaine that was caught in the port in Florida again?
Oh, snap.
Yeah.
That was the
This
one
isn't
for the
the
day.
first time.
It was like, we're trying to get another down payment to free El Chapo.
Well, the whole thing is, honestly, for every single one of them that they find, there's probably 30 that slip in.
You gonna build that wall, they gonna dig that tunnel.
It's funny because, El Chapo said something. And he basically said that he's not the problem, the U.S. is the problem, because the U.S. does have a drug problem.
That makes the cocaine. He's like, you got the problem.
There was
Well, check this out. Now, I will tell you, though, that people say that they are worried about the new Attorney General, William Barr. And according to some of the news outlets and stuff and places I've read at, a lot of people who have spoke out or been quoted as being worried are like cannabis rights groups, obviously, cannabis activist groups, the ACLU, that's of course the champions of lawyers that'll come help you if you've been done wrong civilly, your civil rights violated. Planned Parenthood, as well as other civil rights and environmental groups, very worried about William Barr and what his focus is going to be. Let's do this. It's about that time to get out of here, guys. Before we get out of here, one more time, tell them who you are.
County Renee.
Dagga.
And I'm, of course, MistaTre. And we, of course, host the Wake Back America show Monday through Friday on Blazing 98.5. This is our talk show version of our show called Wake and Bake, Your Mama House in the Afternoon. Suck it. Say that word one more time. Yeah. Now let's just do this. Of course, thank you to all of our sponsors. Don't forget to visit us at www.wakethenbakeamericashow.com for links to all of our social media stuff, our staff bios, podcasts, and our live morning show on Blazing 98.5, which you can get our live link right there on TuneIn every day, 5 a.m. Mountain Time, starting 5 a.m. Mountain Time, 7 a.m. Eastern Time. Of course, if you have a comment, you want to be a guest on the show, of course, all you have to do, if you want to hang out with us there, Wake and Bake, or just comment, all you got to do is do the right thing. Call us if you got a business, otherwise you're coming on the show. No, I'm just like, for real though. No, but for real though, if you got a comment, you want to be a guest on the show, or of course you have a business and you'd like to advertise with our show, just send us an email to, of course, our inbox at info@WakeTheLetterandBakeAmericaShow.com. We out. Your mom sucks. No, I'm just playing. And we out. Clear. Beep. No, I'm just playing. You know that sound when you're not so clear? Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna smoke that much weed next time.
Oh
I was high as shit.
my God, that was awesome. Okay, well,
That was very high.
I'm still fucking blind. You see that fucking smell coming down? What the fuck?
Yeah, we ain't going no speakeasy. bitch.
Man, what the
Sorry.
fuck? We're not going to speak. He's about to fucking throw a fire log on and watch a movie. Once
Yeah, we ain't going nowhere.
I get this edited and
You
ready to be uploaded tomorrow.
ain't coming get all this fucking firewood.
You have firewood at your house again?
We still have the rest of the firewood that we're supposed to give you.
All right.
It's like
Well,
all
you
of
should
you.
bring that by. Thank you, Dagga, for coming. Thank you for tolerating whatever it is. And love you, man.
Oh, man.
Hey, don't ask her that shit.
I need that fucking honey before I leave.
I know. Well, we told Jamie we're just waiting on him.
Thank you, brother.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You didn't need to take one of mine.
That was fun.
I don't think it's gonna fit one of your coats.